It may shock you to know that some people think that I'm totally out of touch with reality because I spend all of my time in some sort of rural fairyland. But I say there's absolutely nothing about me that suggests I have anything to do with the countryside. Hello there folks, I'm Dan Brown from sortofinteresting.com, a website that'll soon be relaunched, and today you're joining me on board good old narrowboat Abel's Ark for another video diary about life afloat. And this video is going to be absolutely overwhelmed with incredible, beautiful, sunny, rural canal scenery that we've seen an awful lot of recently. But this video contains a boat trip that in real life actually took over 2 hours. So that's how much footage we're cutting through and cramming down. We've got time lapses, we've got actual real-time footage, we've got GoPro footage, we've got me talking, pointing a phone around as we're boating along footage. We've got all sorts going on. And then we've got a random trip onto dry land for a brief period before, at the end of the video, after stopping in our next mooring spot after the boat trip for only about 30 hours or so, we start moving off again. So anyway, I suppose, without further ado, let's actually get some decent footage on the screen rather than this terrible face. Oh no, why do I say these things? You know what, my opening joke for this, before I put the rural countryside clothing stuff in, was actually going to be, and today I'd like to introduce our guest speaker. Here it is. Anyway, thank you. Right then friends, please excuse that absolutely awful introduction to this video. And, well, to open this video, I thought just for a minute or so, we'd try a little bit of a different camera angle with the GoPro actually on the side of the boat, so you can see the offside, the side of the canal that's away from the towpath, and how it goes all higgledy-piggledy, and we're seeing what remains of a beautiful old tree that used to overhang the canal where I used to have my winter mooring here at the Poacher's Pocket, and we're basically travelling downstream. We're going to pass the Lion Keys Hotel and Spa, heading down towards St Martin's where the locks are, ultimately ending at, where is it? Mad Jack's, that's the place. So there's going to be loads of people buzzing around. It's going to be a very interesting trip, I hope. And, well, I suppose I'll hand you over for some actually there at the moment thoughts. Well, my friends, it's another absolutely beautiful day. I cannot explain how nice it is to be out boating in this again. We're heading back down to St Martin's. I may go through the locks. We'll see what it's like when we get there. So there's been a lot of boats on the move today. It's only about 10:15 at the moment, but that means that with the traffic that's headed down there in the last half hour, there's probably a good stack of people waiting to get through the locks. So I may just stay at St Martin's, I may go through the locks. We'll see when we get there. But again, just being out and about in this sort of weather, it's absolutely fantastic. Okay then my friends, I'm not entirely certain what I'm seeing here, but as you can possibly see, we've got a holiday boat that's travelling so slowly that even at just over tickover, this is the slowest speed I can go and still have forward drive, we appear to be catching them up. This could be a very interesting trip. Cancel the lock passage. So if we zoom in from our side of the boat camera angle here for a moment, you can see that as a boat was approaching us, the boat that was travelling downstream ahead of us was getting into all sorts of a pickle and stuff, going all over the canal, which was causing me to have to stop dead and float around and sending me off course, as you can see here as we started to angle inwards towards the bank there. But basically, I think they were from Chirk Marina on a holiday boat, and this was literally about an hour or so into their entire boating experience in their lifetime. So I certainly wouldn't treat them too harshly, I'll say that much. Well, my friends, this is certainly not Mad Jack's or even St Martin's. I was stuck behind such a slow boat that, again, I mean, I don't blame them, don't get me wrong, as many of you know, I travel as slow as I possibly can. But in this case, I was literally travelling as slow as I possibly could, and I was still catching them up. So that meant that after I got to a certain distance, I'd have to go into total neutral and float around. But then they were having such a worry and difficulty when boats were approaching them that they would also stop. So then I'd start floating closer. So I thought in the end, you know what? There's absolutely nothing spoiling. last thing we want is to be stacked up in the St Martin's lock queue, and so, well, as I always say, pull up the ropes and everything's good. This did serve as one of the rare opportunities on the canal to get over to the far side, where there was also a path down to the hotel and all the rest of it, where you can actually look across and inspect your boat and see what it actually looks like for other people who may be passing on a boat on the canal. And I've got to say, as much as I love Abel's Ark, when we zoom in here, just have a look at the below the gunnel, all the black paint and the condition of it. We need to get this boat out of the water very soon, get that tidied up and see if there's any work that needs doing. But ultimately, it was a very nice opportunity to see the boat since I'd left the marina from this sort of angle. Well, that's boat life in a nutshell, I suppose, my friends. I thought I was going to be taking an awful lot of my day up, travelling very slowly behind that boat, and I didn't want to go through the locks behind them either. So, oh, strange tone in my voice then. So I moored up. I edited a little 10-minute or so video about mooring up at the Poacher's Pocket, where I used to have my winter moorings and stuff like that. And then lo and behold, here we are. Nice clean open canal. I say clean. And well, we're about to go boating again. Some would actually say, in fact, we are boating again. Got some doggies in a car at the side of the canal there. It's all good. Right, this is the point in the video now where you need to strap yourself in, because we have got loads of boating to get through here, and it's all through this sort of absolutely beautiful scenery. As you can see, this is a time lapse. I think this is 8 times the actual speeds that we travelled at, slowing immediately down to normal speed as soon as I said that. And I thought I'd just throw in a good amount of this footage from this boat trip. When we get down to the locks, you'll see there's a lot more people around and that, so I've cut a lot of that section out, as I may make one continuous time lapse of this entire trip down from here right the way through both of the locks, and then ultimately down to more up at Mad Jack's. We'll see how it goes, see what it looks like. But as you can see, as we stop and go to normal speed here, it's just such a beautiful environment to be taking in. And this was, as I mentioned, an unbelievably warm day, and I've got to admit, being stood on the back with no shelter, no shade or anything, it was making me think, as the hours wore on, flipping heck, I may regret not having the cover up here, but I'm still too scared to put the cratch cover up in case I catch it on a bridge when I go beneath it. It should, in theory, fit beneath every bridge on the canal. I'd be slightly concerned about one of the bridges at Chirk Bank, but really, people do travel around with their covers up. It's just that I'm a big chicken. I saw this boat heading up here, and I pulled over to the side, even though I should technically have passed them on the right-hand side, because there was a little sort of weird fence thing. I don't know if it's for animals to drink or what, but I was concerned and I couldn't remember where it was amidst all the overgrown bank on the left or on the right hand side of the canal. So rather than go into this weird sort of wooden construction by accident, if I was trying to get out of the way of the other boat, as I always say, if in doubt, just pull over to the side, let other people pass, and then carry on your day uninterrupted, or possibly more interrupted. Again, I thought we'd slow down for these nice scenic old bricks and stone bridges. Again, they're iconic, classic canal features, a lot of these humpback bridges are. And now we're coming up to this is sort of Moorsbank area. This is by where St Martin's, the village itself, is. And some of you may know and may have seen my previous video a few weeks ago where I was moored up at St Martin's, just above the top of the locks, which isn't far from here, maybe a mile or so at tops, I'd say, from this point. And just to our left-hand side here is somewhere that I've moored up many times when I was on Narrowboat Tilly in years gone by, as we've got a road that crosses the bridge that's in the centre of the screen now, which has a relatively short, maybe about 6-mile trip to Oswestry and back. So over the winter months, you didn't have much muddy towpath to go down, and it was a nice easy trip to town. Well, my friends, I'm hoping that you can see some of the scenery behind me here. Got cows and fields and boats moored up and cyclists and all sorts of stuff going on. And again, it's one of these moments that I look around and I think, who on earth would want to live on a boat? Just don't see the appeal of it myself. yet again I feel that I should really apologise for these attempts at comedy in this video. So this is where we set off from in a previous video and where we moored up. As I mentioned, I used to moor up here many times on Narrowboat Hilly, as it was just such a great place. And as I've mentioned in my previous vlog video a couple of weeks ago, having all of this low horizon, it's amazing for astronomy at night, and there's very little light pollution. And again, it's just ignoring all that, it's just an absolutely beautiful, peaceful place to be, because we're a long way from the nearest road, and there's not too many people who moor up there over the winter months, or anywhere along here in the winter months, so it's nice and peaceful in every sense. At this point, I started to get down towards the bridge and then realised there was a boat just coming out of the lock. So, as I say, rather than trying to plough ahead and try and pull us over to the right-hand side on the opposite side of the bridge, I thought, no, we're not going to risk it. We'll just back up, pull over to the side, let them come up through the bridge, and then we'll go through. It's not as if we were going to be able to rush straight through, because there were obviously other boats waiting to go through the locks. So take your time and enjoy the trip. Well, as you can see, my friends, we have got boats all over the place here, and this was me waiting until it had quietened down a little bit. So we're sort of second in the queue, I suppose. Here there's a boat just going down in the lock, then this blue boat in front of us, and then it shall hopefully be the Ark's turn. Now obviously, if there's boats on the other side waiting to come up, then when this boat goes down and out of the lock, we'll leave the doors open, and then in will come the other boat. They'll come up, leave the doors open, in will go the blue boat, and it's just taking it in turns really. Again, all about helping each other out and getting everything sorted as smoothly, calmly and swiftly as possible. So, as we take our turn now to head through the first lock of the day, out of a whopping 2 locks, you'll notice and see here illustrated perfectly the wonderful sort of community spirit of being out and about on the canals, with boats all over the place in the summer as well, where there's so much help that it almost makes you feel bad that you're not doing more to get your own boat through the lock. You can see here I had to keep going to and from the lock gate. Obviously I was winding up one of the paddles, but had to keep coming back to the boat to keep it in order and to stop it just going with the flow of water and crashing into the front lock gates. And you certainly don't want it to go back and get stuck on the sill and then end up sinking or anything mad like that. And as we come out of the lock here, there's boats waiting to go in, there's boats waiting for other boats to go in and stuff. It's just I really do love these things, because I suppose when I was on Narrowboat Hilly, I did my absolute best to avoid all of this sort of busy canal time and stuff. It's so nice, I think, just being back on a boat and being back out on the canal, but in such great weather, and when you're not worried about getting to a place at a certain time or anything like that, you can just really enjoy it and just relax, which is something I suppose I really struggle to do a lot of the time on Narrowboat Hilly. But anyway, I think I'll just throw this random clip of me talking in. I almost feel as if it sounds like about sunstroke or something, that I'm all of a daze here. Honestly, my friends, just take a look at this. How absolutely fantastic is this? Nothing but countryside all around us. Got locks and boats and all sorts going on, but we're travelling along at probably not even, well, I'd say we're probably going about 2 miles an hour at this point. Barely above neutral. Just trying to do enough forward momentum to stop the wind blowing us around. But my goodness me, I mean, just look at that. I mean, honestly, how amazing and fantastic is just Shropshire and all this amazing area that the canal goes through. Oh, flipping heck, it's so good to be back on a boat. Got the hay baled up there. Oh, honestly, my friends, I cannot explain to you. These little moments like this, it's almost overwhelming to think that this was all gone forever, as I did for a year and a half or however long before I started to have my doubts about land life. And then we're back. Oh, and look at that, just to complete the scene here, there's our local heron. Absolutely perfect. What a way to live. Oh. So as we approached the next lock and our final lock of the day, we didn't have as long of a wait to get through this one, but I just want to leave a little few seconds here where you can just hear the creaking and clanking of the locks actually being worked in the distance. So, as we take our turn now to head into this lock, I just want to point out, you might have heard in the background of that clip, it had a constant sort of shh sort of sound, which may have sounded like something like wind in the trees or what have you, but that's actually just the sound of running water flowing through both the lock gates and the paddles and the leaky lock gates, I suppose I should say, as well as the water flowing around the outside of the lock, which is a little channel that just keeps the flow of water going along the canal in general, whether the lock's being used or not. And it's something I think surprises a lot of people. It's actually quite noisy when you're in the lock in a boat, and especially as water's coming in and out. And, well, again, I suppose it's one of those things, really, that it looks so peaceful and calm and that on these videos without the natural sounds in. But when you're actually there, I think with the engine running and the sound of the rushing water, there's a lot of people who would be stood even at the side of the lock who will talk in a normal voice to you when you're sat on the stern, when you're stood on the stern controlling the boat, and you can't hear a word they're saying. So often you'll have to just nod politely and hope that you're giving the right responses to what they're saying. Something I should probably point out at this moment is the fact that this trip, from setting out from the Lion Keys, where we'd unexpectedly stopped earlier in the day, down to Mad Jack's itself here, is probably taken about 2 hours plus with all the waiting to go through the locks. As I say, there's almost 2 hours of just boating footage, which doesn't include a lot of the waiting around for our turn to get into the locks and that. And that 2 hours plus travel has only covered about 2 miles of canal in all of that time. So it's very much a case of sit back, relax, and try not to get too excited. So I tell you what, my friends, don't want to sound like a humbug, but a little bit of breeze and the sun disappearing is actually quite a welcome break. Again, on the bottom side of the New Martin locks now, how absolutely beautiful is this place. Well, the shade certainly didn't last long, but let's be completely honest, who really cares? Oh, just what a beautiful place. So we really are entering the final stretch now. Just a side note here, those trees we've just passed on the left hand side are a very good marker because they're so tall and so prominent in their little arrangement that you can tell what trees they are by a huge distance away basically. So if you're on a slight incline or if you're clambering over fences and trying to make an unofficial route back towards the boat if you're moored up in this direction, crossing the fields and so on, those do act as a very good marker, a very good waypoint, almost like a heads-up display sort of, that's where we're heading, to those trees over there. So here's me getting on my bike in the Mad Jack's car park, and as you can see, it's still a beautiful day, but let's head back to the boat and have a chat about what's about to happen here on this day. So at this point, I would normally cut to some GoPro footage of me biking into town down the lanes and past Whittington Castle and things like that, but for once I don't have a GoPro clip from this bike ride. And that's basically because after I'd taken a few minutes to settle down and check everything was okay on the boat after clattering through the locks and the general boat trip at large, And I basically thought, you know what, rather than wait until the evening to go into town and then be in a rush to get out of me sweaty clothes and have a shower and go out with me friends and what have you in the evening, it'd be better to head to town earlier on and then be able to go into town itself and do a bit of shopping and stuff beforehand, and then be nice and relaxed and calm to meet my friends and walk up to the leaving do. And the reason that I don't have the GoPro footage is because obviously the GoPro had been on the front of the boat filming all of that trip for hours on end. Well, not on end, but for a decent amount of time. So the battery was pretty much completely worn out. And because I didn't want to hang around on the boat, I didn't have time to recharge it, basically. So that's a very exciting story there for you, my friends. But it's a good illustration, really, of why it's handy that somewhere like Oswestry, that I work in a shop in there. I've got most of my friends and family based around there. I'm Oswestry born and raised myself, one of the last people born in the old hospital that used to be in Oswestry itself. Claim to fame. But ultimately, it's very handy because the canal curves around. So you've got the Montgomery Canal and the Llangollen Canal, which sort of curve around and make like a semicircle around the outskirts of the town, about, I'd say, between 2.5 and 5 miles away in a huge section of the town's perimeter. You can bike or walk, like I say, between 2.5 and 5 miles and find the canal. So that obviously makes it very handy when you're out and about cruising and doing these little trips and back and to and all over the place, to get in and out of town very easily. And it was something that when I was living on Narrowboat Tilly was very handy, as you can imagine. But having friends and family all over the place in the region also makes it very handy that if I've got shopping or things like that I want to do when I'm out and about on the canal, where there's not necessarily a good bus route that passes nearby, and I have to then do all of my shopping in increments that can be put in a backpack and then carried out on my back on a bike. So I can obviously go into town, as I did on that particular day, do a load of shopping there, leave it at my friend's house, leave it at my mum's house in this particular case, and then take a little bit out on me back in my bag when I went back in the evening, which we'll see later on, and then go back into town the following day and then fetch more stuff out and then move along to a further away, more awkward point again on the canals. So somewhere like Mad Jack's, where it's a very short, very flat bike ride in, rather than being double the rides with a big hill in it out to somewhere like Ellesmere, for example, is obviously a prime moment to do these trips of going in and out to get shopping and things like that. So yeah, that's just a random distraction for you there. The evening was absolutely lovely, and it was just a nice sort of bittersweet moment, I suppose, really, and good to see a lot of people who I do indeed like a lot. Anyway, let's have a look at an absolutely ludicrous clip, or a few clips maybe. Random Oswestry moment here. The dormer windows to the left-hand side of the big tall chimney in the centre of the screen is where I used to live before I bought Abel's Ark and after Narrowboat Tilly. And the two skylights looking up at the chimney stack were in my bedroom that became my model railway room. Anyway. Look at me, friends, I'm outside. I'm inside, but you get what I'm trying to say. Well, my friends, it's 1:10 in the morning. I've just biked back out to the boat after a lovely evening out. Happy times and sad times as people are leaving work and what have you. And I cannot believe that out, obviously, in the Sunday into Monday midnight and early hours, I've had obviously entirely clear roads, not a car in front of me out here. And it's taken me less than 16 minutes, I think 15 minutes 45 seconds, to bike 4.5 miles out on my little bike. And again, I don't feel as if that was anywhere near the full sort of exertion that I could have put and the full effort I could have put in. I mean, for example, just listen, I've literally just arrived back to the boat now after that epic ride out, and I'm speaking normally. I don't feel out of breath or anything. So I really do look forward to, over the next few months, just going absolutely wild on this bike with no backpack. I mean, again, I've got a backpack with my laptop and a few supplies and drinks and stuff in it, so it's not as if I've got a light load or anything. Yeah, it's all good fun, my friends. Right, I really better think about getting to bed, I think. So the following day, I did exactly what my plan had been, which was to head back into town, only very, very briefly, to pick some things up and then fetch them back to the boat. And I literally must have spent a matter of minutes off my bike in that entire round trip to just go get supplies and come back out to the boat. And that was because I was meeting somebody on board, because again, somewhere like Mad Jack's is a popular location that a lot of people know, and it's easy to get to, and you can park right next to the canal. So it makes it one of the few places, well, not the few places, but one of the less popular places that it's easy to meet people, rather than being at somewhere like Bank or some of the more well-known areas. So it's a nice peaceful bit of canal, you don't get too many people walking down there, and so I've basically had to pedal like mad to get back to the boat, because I knew that my friend was coming out in their car, and well, all I can say is that I may have inadvertently gone past them in the car park on my bike as if I was the rudest person in the world, totally ignoring them, parked up in their car, waiting to come and have a look for where the boat was on the canal nearby. But there's not much footage from this day, and that's mainly because, as many of you know, I try and keep a lot of people out of these bits and pieces and protect people's privacy of those around me. And I don't know, who perhaps this friend might have even been a girl. I mean, perhaps it wasn't though, who knows, Anyway, this is terrible stuff. Right, I'm going to quickly move on at this point. Yeah, so basically, that night, I ended up having one of those sort of restless moments where I was thinking, how long do I want to stop at Mad Jack's? Should I move on? And it was that beautiful an evening that I thought, you know what? Let's just go for it. There was a little bit more wind around, but it wasn't too bad at all, really, for boating in. And so I basically thought, you know what, let's just untie and see where we go and moor up. So it was around, I don't know if it was about 8 o'clock or so, that I actually set off on the boat trip, and pretty much all the boats had stopped at that point. So you're passing moored boats and people having their tea and stuff, and it was a lovely evening boat trip as the sky went through its sort of pastel colours of sunset. This was actually the boat trip that I did my first recent real-time boating video on. If you want to go and see that, you'll see me passing through Whittington Wharf with all the boats moored up there and so on in real time. We're not going to show much of this footage. You might be seeing some put over the top of me talking that you hear. Hopefully you are. If not, then I'll put it in right now. Remind myself that in this video. But it was an absolutely lovely end to the day, but it's caused a bit of an issue because I don't know what to include in this video, as it's already run ludicrously long on just one boating trip and one day's activity. And if I start again with another boat trip, which again went on for almost 2 hours or so, I think we'll end the video here, actually, yeah, let's be sensible. But really, it was just yet another perfect 48-hour period of, wow, this is everything that's good about boating and boat life, and these are all the things that I love about it. Friendly people out and about on the canal, amazing experiences, just tootling along, whether that's by bike, by boot or by boat, just going along in the countryside and enjoying the surroundings. I don't know if you saw, I accidentally stubbed my fingers on the chimney breast here, or chimney even, and it was just another perfect experience. And again, little did I expect at that point that the beautiful sunny weather was going to continue for another couple of weeks. Well, I think it might have continued for a month or so, but basically it was very hot for a long time. Right, I think at this point I'm going to wrap this video up properly and say thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed this really random, sort of a bit of a hectic, higgledy-piggledy vlog of a video here today. Please do consider checking out my short boat life books, available for the Kindle and also as a paperback, which rather foolishly I've left all the way over here. the paperback, which contains a few of my shorter Kindle books in one handy volume, so please do consider checking out some of my Kindle books, as it really does mean a lot to me and it really does help fund this entire enterprise. Basically, we're struggling on sales, I've got to admit, but in all seriousness though, thank you to everyone who reads them. It really is fantastic. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for checking out the books. Feel free to add me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and all that sort of stuff. There's links to all this and the books in the description below. And well, I suppose, my friends, the final thing for me to say is, as always, have an absolutely fantastic day. Keep it interesting, keep it boat worthy. And my friends, you guessed it, farewell.